Thespa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you a collection of altered envelopes that I made for a swap over at the Alternative Junk Journals Facebook group. Our swap was supposed to be kind of a darker theme, gothic, that sort of thing. But when I got to creating, things just ended up being romantic, kind of. So the darkness in this set comes from the story. And this is the first time I've made a set that goes with a story. So pardon me if it's not the best story ever, but I think it's kind of interesting. Definitely takes a darker turn to go with our theme, our Alternative Junk Journals group, for sure. The idea is that these are the lost Valentines of Deliah Corvinus, and she was a young girl who was very beautiful. And I've used these are some, I believe these are, they may be Tim Holtz. I got these in a swap, so but anyway, so I used her. She is the young girl Deliah, and then these are some of the loves of her life. And like this would be like her little pocketbook, her little pocket purse kind of a thing. This is a really old beaded purse. So that is our lady that we're speaking of. This is Deliah. Deliah's first suitor was a gentleman, and he liked to send her beautiful things. So this is a pocket book that opens up like so, and it does have a bit of a dark theme. Hopefully you can see that. That paper's pretty dark, but hopefully it's coming out pretty well. And then these are just some tea-dyed and coffee-dyed papers. Now, our envelopes were supposed to be just decorated, altered, etc. And then the insides were supposed to be blank, so that they're supposed to be mysterious love letters. So if he was to send her some love letters, this is how I imagine a gentleman's love letters would be. Very fancy and interesting. So inside I have just a reproduction letter. And it is signed Lewis. So her gentleman caller is named Lewis. So that is that. That might have been one of the letters that he sent to her. So the idea behind the reason they broke up was that he sent her a diamond brooch. Well, he told her it was a diamond brooch. But then she found out it wasn't real diamonds, they were just glass because one of them broke. So that ended their courtship. And so inside of here comes the darker part. It says, "With you I am never alone," and it has a woman holding a skull and some flowers. So that is one of her love letters. We had to do 3 love letters, but I actually ended up doing 4 just because that's where this went all on its own. So this love letter is from William Hart, and he is a poet. He would write her many poems and letters and profess his undying love until one day, this is one of the letters that he wrote to her, and it's blank on the back, so they can use this for however they want to use that. Was found outside of a house of ill repute, professing his undying love to a barmaid at the same time. So that was the end of their courtship. And this is a piece of tea-dyed, coffee-dyed, distressed paper that I did. And it is blank so that whoever gets this can use it however they want. And in this one, there is Our together is forever, and it has a woman holding a skull with some flowers. And on the inside of that envelope is that, and this is kind of a velvet damask paper that I sewed around the edges, and it has some antique lace and an antique doily, or not antique doily, a vintage style paper doily. And then this is a reproduction from a book plate, and then this is an old piece of embroidery that I put on there. So, and then also there is a wax seal. This is actual wax, sealing wax, so it has kind of a pretty sheen to it. So I did the heart on his because his name is William Hart, H-A-R-T. So that is the love letter from the poet. And then this one would have been a love letter from a milliner, you know, who would make fancy hats and flower brooches and things like that. And this has an antique glass button on it, some embossed pieces, some vintage style corner pieces that I made out of Sculpey clay, some little flowers, and on the back is a wax seal with a rose. And then this is some paper that was covered with some embroidered, it's kind of like a tulle material, and then I just sewed around all the edges. And to open this one, the string just goes through this little loop right here, and then you can open it up like this. And on the inside there is a paper flower, and this is the envelope that I made. So in here, the milliner, James Smith, this is a love letter that he wrote to her, and their courtship came to an end. I like this skull, heart with the flowers, the two skulls. Their courtship came to an end when he said that he was working on a beautiful hat for her, that he was spending many hours in his shop at night making a hat for her, and it turned out to be a hat in a terrible color that turned out to be a clearance hat from his shop. So he had been spending his evenings elsewhere, and where was that? So that was the end of their courtship. And this says, "In life I loved you dearly, in death I love you still." And so there is a skull with some roses. So there's that one. And then this one is from her fourth suitor, and he was an older gentleman who was an accomplished painter and artist. And this one is made out of some really nice wrapping paper, some vintage wrapping paper. It was a remnant piece that I had found and used it to make a large envelope. And then these are just some other pieces here. And this is some vintage lace with some kind of black rose tulle trim. These are like little roses. And then this is has a flower with a heart in black. Then in here, these are the paintings he did, which I thought this was very close to her. So these are some of the paintings that he did. He did a painting of her, and he did a painting of the church, or he did a sketch of the church in which they had planned to be married. And then he also was working on the artwork for their marriage certificate. But one day, she made him a valentine with her own drawings, and she was very proud of it. She learned how to fold it. And when you open it up, it has all of her own drawings, and when he saw the drawings, he laughed because they were so primitive and below his capabilities. And so that hurt her very much, that he would feel that way, that he wasn't proud to have her artwork. So that was the end of their courtship. And so this one says, and our love goes beyond flesh, it transcends death's reminder. So there is a painting of a skull and some flowers in there. Now some say that Deliah was just unlucky in love, and some whispered in dark corners that Deliah was actually a black widow. But whatever the case may be, one thing was certain. You did not want to be Deliah's Valentine. So these are just some extra pieces that I've put in here. This one says strychnine. This is kind of a Victorian faux skull painting. It's got a man and a woman playing cards at a table. And these are just some extra ephemera pieces that I'm putting in for whoever gets this. It says always and forever. So yeah, that's kind of like the dark turn that this one took. So each man has a photo, a picture, an image of, you know, him. So hopefully whoever gets this doesn't mind that whole part of the story, but hopefully they'll like. This is just kind of a tea-dyed, coffee-dyed envelope that I put some paper here and this little thing here, and then they also get this little tag as well. So hopefully whoever gets this will like these. They were a lot of fun to make. I think, you know, you could definitely use these envelopes in a different way that does not go with the story if you wanted to. But that was kind of my goal, to be able to have something that someone could reuse in their junk journals, or in, you know, making a Valentine for someone that they do love and want to give a Valentine to. So that is the whole idea behind this set of envelopes, and looking forward to this swap in the junk journal, the alternative junk journal Facebook group. It's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!